Welcome back to the video classes, dear students. So in this session we shall now discuss about the plant physiology, and under plant physiology there are various chapters like transporting plants, mineral nutrition, photosynthesis in plants, higher plants, respiration in higher plants, as well as plant growth development. So among that, now we'll be discussing about the first chapter under plant physiology, that is the transport in plants. But before going in detail about this chapter, first we shall know what is plant physiology. So what do you mean by physiology? The term physiology always it refers to the study of living processes, activities as well as functions of any organisms. So if we are studying about the activities and functions of a plant, it is called as plant physiology. What and all activities will be going on inside a plant? See, the plants, they are involved in the absorption of water. The roots are present under the ground, and those roots, they are involved in the absorption of water. And then this absorbed water, it has to be translocated. It has to be transported to the various parts of the plant body. And the leaves, you people know that leaves. So these leaves, as they are green in color, they are involved in the process called as photosynthesis. And through the photosynthesis, these leaves are involved in the preparation of their own food. So the leaves will be preparing their own food. And this prepared organic material, it has to be reached to the other parts of the plant body. See, when the leaves, they prepare their own food, the leaves are the only, usually leaves are the basic structures which are organs which are involved in the preparation of their own food. So once these leaves are involved in the preparation of this food, it has to be transported to the other needy parts like stems, branches as well as roots. And thus if you people observe one thing here, the leaves, as they are preparing their own food, this food has to be translocated. So the movement, when we look at the direction of movement of these food materials inside the plant body, this food, it moves upwards as well as it also moves downwards or sideways like this. So now this prepared food, it has to be reaching the roots so that the food materials will be moving downwards, and it has to reach the other stems and branches which are present above. So towards the upper parts also the movement of food materials takes place. And thus the translocation of food materials, it is usually multi-directional in nature. We can call it as multi-directional. Whereas the movement of, if we observe the movement of water, roots are the only organs which are involved in the absorption of water. That too especially the root hairs. So they will absorb water and mineral nutrients, and thus this absorbed water has to be translocated to the other parts of the body, and it always moves upwards. It is always moving upwards, and thus the movement of water is unidirectional, whereas the movement of organic materials, it is multi-directional in nature. So these are the vital processes which are occurring inside our plant body, so called that branch of study of the vital activities which are occurring inside the plant is called as the plant physiology. See, the movement. So I'm telling about the movement of substances, and these substances might be moving over shorter distances or longer distances. So shorter distances in the sense, the substance, it may be moving within a cell from here towards here, or there might be the transportation or exchange of materials from one cell to the another cell. So this is the movement of substances over shorter distances. Whereas sometimes the molecules or substances has to move over longer distances. See, roots are the only organs which are involved in the absorption of water, and thus this absorbed water, it has to reach various parts of the plant body. So like this, if you also know that plants and trees, so some of the trees, they are hundreds of meters height in nature. So to that heights, water has to move, and thus in such cases what happens, there will be the movement of substances over longer distances, and thus during the movement of substances to longer distances, it takes place with the help of a special kind of vascular system called as xylem as well as phloem. See, xylem, it is a water conducting tissue, whereas this phloem is a food conducting tissue. Xylem, it conducts water from roots to various parts of the body over longer distances, as well as phloem is a food conducting tissue, and this conducts, it translocates the food from leaves towards the other needy parts, and thus it is also involved in the movement of substances over longer distances. It is also involved in the movement of substances over longer distances. And the movement of these substances, it may be if the molecules has to move from one place to another, there are certain different kinds of physiological processes occurring, and the movement of substances might be occurring either by using the energy or without using the energy. So if the movement of molecules takes place with the expenditure of energy, then that kind of movement is called as active transport. And if the movement of molecules or substances takes place without expenditure of energy, it is called as passive transport. So that is called as passive transport. Okay, there are different kinds of physiological processes involved in the movement of substances, like diffusion. Here we come across the diffusion, facilitated diffusion, imbibition. So imbibition usually occurs inside the seeds. When we drop the seeds inside the water, they will absorb the water, so they will swell in nature. That is called as imbibition. Even imbibition as well as active transport. So those are the different kinds of the movement of different kinds of the physiological processes which are involved in the transportation of different substances. So now we will be discussing about the diffusion. See, what do you mean by diffusion? So diffusion is nothing but the random movement of the molecules, of a substance from the region of its higher concentration to the region of its lower concentration. So what do you mean by that? See, say for example, this is the system A and this one is the system B, assume. And in the system, there is a many number of molecules of a substance is present, whereas in this system only a few are present. So this system which is having more number of molecules, so this can be called as higher concentration. So this medium has higher concentration, whereas in this system, as the number of molecules are low, so it is called as lower concentration. And thus what happens, there will be the movement of molecules from the region of its higher concentration towards the region of its lower concentration. So that is nothing but the diffusion. One more example let me give you. So when we burn an incense stick, so after a few seconds itself, what happens, somewhere, say for example this is a room, somewhere here I am burning the incense stick. So the fumes, it arises and it spreads from the region of its higher concentration towards the region of its lower concentration. And thus after a few minutes, the entire room will be filled with the same fragrance. So this is nothing but, this random movement of these gaseous molecules is nothing but the diffusion. So here molecules, when we speak about molecules that undergoes diffusion here, those molecules might be solids or liquids or gases. So diffusion occurs in solids, liquids as well as gases, but in case of gases, the diffusion rate is faster, as well as it actually readily occurs in case of gases. If the diffusing molecules are gases, diffusion takes place very readily. Okay, so what do you mean by diffusion? How do we define the diffusion? Diffusion is nothing but it is a passive process. What do you mean by passive process? That means it does not require any energy. So here the random movement of molecule of a substance from the region of its higher concentration to the region of its lower concentration is called until equilibrium is reached is called as diffusion. What do you mean by equilibrium? Until both the systems attains same number of concentration or same number of molecules, until that there will be the movement of molecules, and that process is called as diffusion. And as the molecules are moving with the flow, it does not require any energy, and thus diffusion is a passive process. And then diffusion rate, it is actually affected by certain features like the gradient of concentration, that means the concentration gradient, permeability of membrane separating, temperature, pressure, as well as surface area also. So even the surface area also affects the rate of diffusion. But before going to that, diffusing molecules will be exerting certain pressure in the medium, so that is called as the diffusion pressure. So what do you mean by dP? dP is nothing but the diffusion pressure. See, say for example, assume this as water. I have taken water inside the beaker, and now when I drop a few drops of ink, as you all know, when we drop a few drops of ink, it slowly diffuses, right? So the colorless liquid, it turns into colored slowly, very slowly. So there will be the movement of molecules of these substances, and these substances which are undergoing diffusion. So these molecules, these ink molecules will be exerting certain pressure during the diffusion, and that is called as the diffusion pressure. So what do we call for that? That is called as the diffusion pressure. Okay, so this rate of diffusion is affected by certain things like the concentration gradient. What do you mean by concentration gradient? See, always the molecules moves from the region of its higher concentration towards the region of its lower concentration. So along the gradient there will be the movement of molecules. Okay, and then it also depends upon the permeability of the membrane separating. See, if this is a cell, it will be having the plasma membrane inside, and this plasma membrane is made up of lipid bilayer. So this plasma membrane, it is made up of the lipid bilayer here. So this lipid bilayer, as it is made up of lipids, this lipid bilayer, it allows the easy movement of molecules from the region of its higher concentration towards the region of its lower concentration only with the molecules which can dissolve inside the lipids. So if say for example, assume this as A molecule. If this A molecule dissolves easily in the lipids, so that this molecule easily passes along the gradient through this lipid bilayer. Otherwise, if B molecule, let us take it as a B molecule. See, this molecule, it dissolves in water only but not in lipids. But when this molecules appears here, so when it reaches the lipid bilayer, as you all know that they are hydrophobic in nature, that means they hate water, and thus the molecules which dissolves in water, when they comes in contact here, so the movement of these molecules is not allowed by the lipid molecules, so lipid bilayer, and thus the movement of molecules or the diffusion of these molecules along the concentration gradient always depends upon the permeability of this lipid bilayer membrane. And others which affect the rate of diffusion are like temperature. So higher the temperature, higher will be the rate of diffusion. lower the temperature, lower will be the rate of diffusion. Say one good example for that is when some food is boiled. So when it is going on boiling, as the temperature rises, what happens? The smell or aroma of the dish also fills in the house. So as the temperature rises, the rate of diffusion also rises. Whereas if the temperature decreases, the rate of diffusion also decreases, like that. And also it depends upon the pressure. So always molecules moves from the region of their higher pressure towards the region of their lower pressure. And also it depends upon the surface area. So more the surface area, more will be the rate of diffusion. Lesser the surface area, lesser will be the rate of diffusion. So these are the factors which are affected by the rates of, these will be affecting the diffusion rates. So here I told you diffusion is nothing but the rapid movement of molecules from the region of their higher concentration towards the region of their lower concentration. So there will be the movement of molecules along the concentration gradient, without the expenditure of energy. That is, the molecules will be moving from the region of their higher concentration towards the region of their lower concentration without the expenditure of energy, until an equilibrium is reached on both sides. That means on both the sides what happens? What should happen? The number of molecules it should become same. So say for example, if 10 molecules are here present here, and if 9 molecules are present here, so what happens? If 8 molecules are present here, so one molecule it moves along the concentration gradient, so the number of molecules becomes same on the both sides. So this is called as equilibrium. Until that, what happens? Until equilibrium is attained, the molecules will be diffusing along the concentration gradient from the region of its higher concentration towards the region of its lower concentration, and that too without any expenditure of energy. So this is called as the diffusion. And now we shall move on to the facilitated diffusion. See, I told you diffusion is affected by certain factors, that is, it is depending upon the permeability of the membrane. So usually the molecules which dissolves in lipids are allowed or permitted by the lipid bilayer to pass through that. See, here I have told you that the molecules which dissolves in the lipid, so these are easily permitted by the lipid layer to pass through them. But how about the molecules with hydrophilic dissolvability? So those molecules which dissolves in the water, it has to cross this permeable, lipid bilayer membrane into the cell. See, this is outside the cell and this is the inner side of the cell. Say for example, sugars or amino acids, these are very, very essential for the cells. As they are showing hydrophilic moiety, that means as these molecules are dissolvable only in water, here this lipid bilayer is not allowing the diffusion of this molecules. In such cases, what happens? The movement of these substances, it has to be facilitated, and that is called as the facilitated diffusion. So that is called as the facilitated diffusion. So what do you mean by facilitated diffusion? See, facilitated diffusion is nothing but the diffusion of molecules from the region of its higher concentration towards the region of lower concentration with the help of membrane proteins is called as facilitated diffusion. See, again here they has given the lipid bilayer. Here also they has given the lipid bilayer. But here if you people observe, there we can find the presence of large oval shaped structures which are called as the transport proteins. Otherwise, these transport proteins are also called as membrane proteins. They are also called as membrane proteins or permeases. They are also called as permeases. So, say assume that this is the inner side of the cell and this one is the outer side of the cell. So I told you the molecules which dissolves in water like amino acid as well as sugar, it has to reach into the cell as they are vital in nature. But this lipid bilayer will not allow the diffusion of such molecules. Under such circumstances, what happens? The movement of the diffusion of these molecules has to be facilitated, and it is facilitated by the presence of this transport protein. So here you can observe this is the transport protein. So what happens is these molecules, they are facilitated, the diffusion of these molecules are facilitated by these transport molecules, proteins. So these proteins, they binds these molecules and they will be like this. Here they will be binding and they will flip and they will leave the molecules inside the cell. So this is how the transport proteins facilitates the diffusion of the molecules which dissolves in the water, and it also does not require any expenditure of energy, and thus facilitated diffusion is also a passive process. So it is also a passive process. And facilitated diffusion is very specific. See, it allows the cell to select the substances for the uptake. These transport proteins, they here, see I'll write the diagram. See here, this is the transport protein and here lies the lipid bilayer. I told you this transport protein binds the molecule, it flips and leaves the molecule inside the cell. But for this to occur, this transport proteins, they are specific in nature. They will not allow or facilitate the diffusion of all the molecules. They are selective in nature. They are usually selective in nature, and thus they uptakes the selected molecules and then they will flip and leave them inside the cell. And also the facilitated diffusion is also sensitive to inhibitors. So it is also sensitive to inhibitors which reacts with the protein side chains. So somewhere here there will be the protein side chains. So if somewhat here inhibitors comes, what happens? The facilitated diffusion will not occur as the reaction occurs here. And also these the proteins form channels in the membrane for molecules to pass through. See, if this is the transport protein, it will be having the channels so that through these channels the molecules can move. So that is it. And some channels, they are always open. See, some of these channels, they are always open. There is no closure here, and thus these molecules, whenever they want, they can cross through this protein, and thus they can reach inside the cell. But in some others, it is not like that. It is highly controlled. So it is highly controlled. Only selected molecules are allowed to go through that inside. So that is called as the controlled. So that can be called as the controlled facilitated diffusion. And some protein channels are large. So some of the protein channels are large, allowing a variety of molecules to cross. So some of them are very large in nature, so that it allows the variety of molecules to cross through that. And there are certain porins present here. So what do you mean by porins? So porins are nothing but the proteins only. But these proteins, they will be having large pores on the outer membranes of the plastids, mitochondria and some bacteria. See, in plastids or mitochondria or some bacteria on their outer membranes, these proteins will be present, right? So these transport proteins will be present on the outer membranes of plastids or mitochondria or some bacteria. But these will be having larger pores like this. So these will be having, these transport membrane proteins will be having larger pores, and those protein molecules, those transport proteins with larger pores. So the transport protein. So if this transport protein is having larger pores, then those are called as porins. So those are called as porins, and they allows the molecules up to the size of small proteins to pass through them. And there is one more protein called as aquaporins. So there is one more proteins called as aquaporins. Aquaporins are nothing but the special kind of porins. They are nothing but the water channels transport proteins which are made up of 8 different kinds of aquaporins. So those are nothing but made up of 8 different kinds of aquaporins. So that aquaporins are nothing but the special kind of porins. They are nothing but special kind of porins. What do you mean by porins? See, this is the transport protein. Transport protein with large pores are called as porins. But if these porins are specialized for the transportation of only water, those are called as aquaporins, and these are made up of 8 aquaporins. So these are made up of 8 different types of aquaporins. That's all. Don't get confused. Aquaporins are nothing but the special kind of porins which are involved in the facilitation of diffusion of water molecules. And it is made up of how many aquaporins? It is made up of 8 number of molecules. It is made up of 8 number of molecules. What is the function? To facilitate the diffusion of water, and hence the name aquaporin. Okay. So here we shall look at the number of molecules that crosses these membrane proteins and also the directions. And based on the number of molecules that crosses through this transport protein and the direction of the movement, it is called as uniport, antiport and symport. See, in case of uniport, what happens? Facilitated diffusion, it occurs only when there is the movement of molecules of a single. So, if only a single molecule moves in a single direction, so then only there will be the movement of this molecule through the membrane protein. And that is called as uniport. That is called as uniport. And in some other cases, what happens? There will be the movement of 2 different molecules in 2 different directions. Say for example, now there is A molecule present outside the cell. So now what this transport protein does? It binds to A. Now it binds to A. And then slowly it flips and it will leave A molecule inside the cell. And once A molecule from outside it reaches inside the cell, again due to the metabolic activities inside the cell, what happens? B molecule is formed here. B molecule is formed here, and now what it does? This same transport protein binds to B molecule now, and then slowly it facilitates the diffusion of this B molecule from inside of the cell towards the outside. So this transport protein, it allows or facilitates the diffusion of A molecule into the cell and B molecule outside the cell. So when 2 different molecules moves in 2 different directions or opposite directions, it is called as antiport. Anti, the term anti refers to against. That means 2 different molecules are moving in an opposite direction. So that is called as antiport. Whereas in uniport, uni refers to single. Single molecule, single direction. Single molecule will be moving in a single direction through the carrier protein, that is called as uniport. When 2 different molecules moves in 2 opposite directions, it is called as antiport through the carrier proteins. And what do you mean by sim? Sim in the sense same. So when these two different molecules travels or they moves in the same direction through the carrier proteins, that is called as symport. So that is called as symport. Is the active transport. See, active transport in the sense here the active transport utilizes energy for the transportation of the molecules from the region of its lower concentration towards the region of its higher concentration. So the term we use is pumping of ions. So we will be using the term called as pumping of ions. That means here what happens is, see, the plant cells, they accumulate ions in larger quantities. See, the plant cell, they accumulate ions in the larger quantities. Even same type of ions are present more in number, hundreds of times more inside the cell when compared to the soil, or outside the soil cell. So these cells, they require constant supply of these ions. So even though there is higher concentration of ions inside the cell and lower concentration of ions outside the cell, these cells, they still require the ions. So in such as it is required for the metabolic activities, under such circumstances, what happens? The pumping of ions, it takes place with the expenditure of energy from the lower concentration towards higher concentration, and that is called as active transport. So that is called as an active transport. The movement of molecules or ions through the membrane protein against a concentration gradient in the expenditure of energy is called as active transport. So that is called as active transport. And what are the properties of this active transport? The active transport, it requires the membrane proteins like this, and it requires ATP. So it will be requiring energy, and it undergoes saturation. That means when all the transport proteins are utilized, that is called as saturation. So that is called as saturation, and these are also sensitive to inhibitors. So this is also sensitive to inhibitors. And it is also carried by specific proteins, I told you. And pumps are proteins that use energy to carry substances across the cell membrane. So these pumps are nothing but the transport proteins or carrier proteins. So they will be utilizing the energy, and thus once it utilizes the energy, it will be involved in pumping of ions from the region of its lower concentration towards the region of its higher concentration with the expenditure of energy, and that is called as uphill transport. So what do we call for that? That is called as uphill transport. And transport rate reaches maximum when all the transporters are being used. See, say for example, this is the lipid bilayer, and here there is one transport protein, and here. So when all these membrane proteins are utilized in active pumping of ions, so thus what happens? The transportation of these ions reaches a maximum, and that is called as saturation. So that is called as saturation, or it is called as saturated. So we call it as saturated. And the pump protein, so the pump protein, it is very specific here. These transport proteins which are present in active transport, so they are very specific in nature. They allow only selected kind of molecules or ions to pass through them, or they will facilitate the diffusion, or they will pump the ions only for the selected molecules. They will not pump all the ions or all kinds of materials. They will pump only selected molecules. Pump in the sense with the utilization of energy. These carrier proteins, they will facilitate the diffusion of the ions from the region of their lower concentration towards the region of their higher concentration. So that is the meaning of pumping of ions. And these are also sensitive to inhibitors. And facilitated transport and active transport, they need special membrane proteins for the transportation and highly selective for molecules to be transported, and they are under hormonal control also. So they will be under the control of hormones. So facilitated transport also requires these special membrane proteins, whereas active transport also requires the special membrane proteins. But these membrane proteins, they are highly selective in nature, and thus they will not transport all the kind of molecules, but only selected ones are transported here, as they are under the hormonal control. So this is about active transport. So we shall go through the differences between those diffusion, normal diffusion, simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion and active transport. See, to compare that, there is a comparison table. See, in simple diffusion, what do you mean by simple diffusion? It is the random movement of molecules from the region of its higher concentration towards the region of its lower concentration. So, here what happens? Simply if the molecules diffuses, that is called as simple diffusion. So, for simple diffusion, does it require any special proteins? So, does it require any special proteins for simple diffusion to occur? No membrane proteins are present here. So, it does not require any membrane proteins in case of simple diffusion. And in simple diffusion, are they highly selective? No. So, almost most of the molecules, they are allowed to pass through that. And transport saturates, are they present? No, it is not present. Uphill transport, is that present in simple diffusion? It is not present. And does simple diffusion require energy? No, it does not require energy. Without the expenditure of energy, the molecules always moves along the gradient. So it moves with the flow from the region of its higher concentration towards the region of its lower concentration. That is called as simple diffusion. Whereas in case of facilitated transport, what happens? So here facilitated diffusion occurs when the molecules like sugars and amino acids are not permeable through the lipid bilayer membrane. Even though it is vital for the cell activities, as they are not permeable through this lipid bilayer, at such time what happens? The movement of those amino acids or sugars, it will be facilitated. That is called as facilitated diffusion. So in facilitated diffusion, what happens? Here exist the transport proteins. So I'll shade that. So here exists the transport or membrane proteins. So here this is the membrane protein. So in facilitated diffusion, what happens? It requires the membrane proteins. Of course, it requires the membrane proteins. Yes. And is it highly selective? Of course, it is selective. So this membrane protein will not allow it will not facilitate the diffusion of all the molecules. It is also selective in nature. And so transport saturates occur? Yes, of course. When more number of these kind of transport proteins are utilized, so the diffusion takes place at a faster rate. So when all are used up, that is called as saturation. So it is called as saturation. So transport saturates occurs here also. And does uphill transport take place? Uphill transport in the sense the movement of molecules from the region of its lower concentration towards the region of its higher concentration with the utilization of energy. So is that occurring here? No. In facilitated diffusion is also a passive process, as it does not require any energy, as the molecules are moving with the flow. That means from higher towards lower. But what is the difference between simple diffusion and facilitated? So here the movement of molecules are facilitated by the membrane proteins. That's all. And thus uphill transport is not seen in case of facilitated diffusion. And does it require ATP? No, it does not require any ATP. And how about the active transport? See, active transport in the sense there will be the movement of molecules from the region of its lower concentration towards the region of its higher concentration. For that, I'll only write the diagram. See here, this is the transport protein and this is the lipid bilayer. And this is outside the cell and this one is inside of the cell. So here exists the lipid bilayer. See, in active transport what happens? There will be the movement of ions from the region of its lower concentration towards the region of its higher concentration. As I told you, inside the cells already hundreds of ions will be present inside the cells, and outside the cells very less number of ions will be present. even though very less number of ions are present outside the cells and many number of ions are present inside the cells, but still these cells require constant supply of these ions which are present outside because it is utilized in the metabolic process. And under such circumstances, what happens? There should be the movement of ions from the region of its lower concentration towards higher concentration. So if the molecule has to move against its concentration gradient, it does not take place without any expenditure of energy. So in such case, what happens? These transport proteins it gets activated with ATP, that is. So these transport proteins, once they energize, so once they get charged with the energy, so by utilization of this energy, these membrane proteins pumps these ions against the concentration gradient with the expenditure of energy. That means, so these membrane proteins, they pumps the ions from the lower concentration towards the region of its higher concentration by utilizing energy, and thus it is called as active transport. And when many number of such transport proteins are utilized, it undergoes saturation. When all are used, there will be an effective transportation of ions or pumping of ions takes place. And thus when ions moves from the region of its lower concentration to the higher concentration with the expenditure of energy, that is called as uphill transport. So that is called as uphill transport. So active transport, does it require special membrane proteins? Of course, yes. Are they highly selective? Of course. In this case, these membrane proteins are also highly selective in nature, and they will not allow, or they will not pump all kind of ions on molecules. They are highly selective in nature. They will pump only the ions which are vital to the cells. And transport saturates occurs, of course. Uphill transport is also present here, and it requires ATP. So this is all about the three different kinds of mechanism of the transportation of the materials or molecules or substances or ions.